Good afternoon, grade 12s. Welcome to Business Studies Telematics on the 17th of April. Today we will be talking about corporate social responsibility. Please follow your content in your telematics book that was already provided to you. My name is Chantal Steyn. I'm a teacher at Kensington High. I teach EMS and Business Studies. And with me in studio today, again, is Ms. Dominique. Ms. Dominique, welcome.
Thank you, Chantal. I am an educator at Goodwood College in Metro North in Cape Town, teaching just grade 12 business studies.
Okay, let's move on. So grade 12s, in business studies, you know that we cover the 4 main topics. Dominique will talk to us about the first 2 main topics.
Yes, remember that your question papers and the content throughout grade 12 is set up according to EVRO, Environments, Ventures, Roles and Operations. If we look at the content for today, it's not what I will be dealing with, as I mainly focus on environments and ventures, and by environments we have the legislation, the strategies, which was our previous session, sectors, and if we look at ventures, this term we will be covering management and leadership. However, the alternative subtopics in ventures will then be covered only in term 3.
Okay, then that was the first 2 main topics. Within the main topics, within business studies, we have another 2 topics, which is business roles and business operations. So grade 12s, for this term, we're going to focus on everything in business roles. And I know that your question paper in section B, you will see 2 questions on roles for this term, as well as the essay question. So when we look at roles, we're looking at professionalism and ethics, creative thinking, corporate social responsibility, of which we will do today, team performance, which is a repeat of grade 11, as well as human rights and inclusivity and environmental issues. Right, then we will also be busy with business operations that we have completed already, human resources, and this term is quality of performance.
I just want to remind our learners about the WhatsApp number 083 792 1239. Again, the number on WhatsApp 083 792 1239. Just saying hello to Düsseldorp Secundair, as well as there was already a question posed with regards to June essays. Grade 12s, you need to remember that all subtopics in the main topics are examinable as essay questions. Just a hint maybe for June, Ventures only covers 1 topic, which is management and leadership. And if we look at ventures, it directly links to question 3 and question 8. Technically, what I'm saying to you is, it obviously depends on what the question paper layout is, and also you need to prepare and know all your content. If we look at past papers, Chantal, I think you can agree with me that yes, every year the essays change, and within the main topic they alternate sometimes, and other times we find where they combine topics together.
And so it's very important, grade 12, that if you are studying, for instance, business roles, you have to, Dominique, study everything, all the subtopics under that main topic. Okay, just a message from 12E2. They want to say hi. And also at Kensington High, they want to send a shout out to the teacher, Ms. Hussein. Okay, Dominique, cognitive levels?
Yes. Later this year, we will be doing the cognitive level questionings, and that's obviously based on examination preparation. The educators make use of a tool called Bloom's taxonomy, where the question paper needs to be set on various levels, where we have lower order, middle order, and higher order questions. Our higher order questions uses action words such as formulate, evaluate, even critically discuss, recommendations that you need to do, whereas middle order is apply and explain, and our lower order questions is define, list, outline, etc.
Okay, moving on to content map. Now, grade 10, you've been doing grade 12, you've been doing business studies since grade 10. And in grade 10, you looked at contributing or how businesses contribute towards immediate community, social responsibility, and corporate social responsibility. Then in grade 11, you touched or you were taught the citizenship roles and responsibilities. And so in grade 12, we look at CSR and CSI, which is corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment.
Right, just also hello to Voorbrug High and Makapula, as well as Clarkberry, and Scottsville High as well in Cape Town. Terminology is very important. You need to know your definitions. Some books I am aware of has a glossary section either on the right or the left-hand side of the book where it gives definitions. If you look on screen right now, we will go through the various definitions or terminology that will be utilized during the session. Social responsibility, corporate, another word for corporate, we could pose as a business, an organization, a firm. We have CSR, is corporate social responsibility, as well as corporate social investment. Investment of corporate funds or assets for primary purpose of achieving social outcomes. And then lastly on that slide is contemporary socio-economic issues. Now, ladies and gentlemen, grade 12s, social or contemporary socio-economic issues, this we know since grade 10. I mean, this is old content. This was an essay question in grade 10 for you perhaps, or in grade 11, where they asked you, what is the social problem, socio-economic challenges experienced by the business? And there you could have listed drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, illiteracy, gambling, piracy, HIV and AIDS, and all of those are the social ills that our community faces on a day-to-day basis. Chantal.
Okay, so what you're saying is in grade 11, we identified the social ills, but in grade 12, we're looking at how businesses actually overcome those social ills and what they can do to overcome those social ills and help the communities.
That's correct. Remember, when we employ people, those people stem directly out of the communities, so they are affected by it, and the business doesn't operate in isolation. Those social ills or social aspects then negatively impacts on the business. If someone has HIV and AIDS or TB, it would lead to absenteeism. But now, in grade 12, Chantal, we're thinking of ways on how the business can address those issues.
Yeah.
If we can continue with the terminology.
Okay, continuing with the terminology, triple bottom line, something you've heard in grade 11, where businesses not only focus on the profit, but also people and the planet, sustainability, using the resources in such a manner that future generations will be able to use them. So using it wisely. The well-being, and this word we will hear throughout the session. Well-being and upliftment is words that we will be using a lot. And well-being is caring for the needs of employees and the communities. Demographics, statistical data of the population in terms of race, age and income, and then the staff turnover. Okay.
What our learners need to know for this chapter, but before we go there, Wellington High School would like to send a special shout out to Miss Benjamin. Miss Benjamin, keep up the good work at Wellington High School. And then also we have a message here straight from Craddock Kalata High School. You are noted. With that, what the learners must know. For this chapter, you need to know the following. Explaining or describing the relationship between social responsibility and the triple bottom line. Secondly, define and describe the nature of CSR and CSI. Thirdly, explain, discuss, or analyze the impact. There's that impact question that they always ask, where we need to know there's positive and negative, or disadvantages or advantages. So that impact question can stem from CSR and CSI on businesses, and then name and state the components of CSR, list practical examples of projects, and then lastly, from my side, name the CSI focus areas, for example, community, rural development, etc.
Okay, just messages coming through from Athlonai, Marymount, and you today. Good afternoon. We hope that you will enjoy the session with us. Moving on with the terminology, learners recommend or suggest. Those are higher order questions. And here you can come with your own recommendations, ways to address socioeconomic issues that challenge social responsibility. Example, HIV and AIDS, unemployment, poverty, and human rights aspects, as well as explain or discuss the implication of the following legislative requirements on CSI and CSR programs: the Employment Equity Act, Skills Development Act, as well as Black Economic Empowerment, and lastly, the National Skills Act.
Right, just again, very welcome to the following schools: Bridgetown, Maclear High in Eastern Cape, Leiden High, as well as Mount View. You are noted. Thank you for joining in. On screen, we have the relationship between social responsibility and the triple bottom line. But before we start there, grade 12s, you need to know that back in the day, in the 90s, people only did business for the bottom line. And the bottom line, what is meant by that is people just wanted to make 100% profit, Chantal, no matter what.
Yeah.
In the 21st century, however, we introduce the triple bottom line. Now, when I think of triple, it automatically means three things.
Yeah.
So that three, we illustrate on the screen by stating profit, planet, and people. Learners, please take out a pen and then add for me the following to your notes. When we look at profit, it automatically means the economics. When we look at people, we are referring to social, the community. And when we look at planet, we are referring to the environment. So that triple P, there's a relationship between all three that is currently mentioned. And when I focus on profit, right, the business needs to keep its doors open. Hence, it must make money. If it makes money, the business can grow. When the business grows, it can employ more people. So which means what are we doing? We're adding to job creation, and then we're decreasing the unemployment statistics. But if the business is not doing well financially and not making a profit, what is then happening? The business is contributing to the social ills or the contemporary socio-economic issues that we have been talking about. When we look at people, in a business, people are working there. So a business is situated in a community. That we need to remember. That's why I said earlier, when you take out your pen, write for me. People is also known as social, but social is also known as the community. And the business is situated within the community, and the community stems from people, and the people work in the business. And here we need to emphasize that the business shouldn't exploit people, take advantage, misuse, and abuse them. However, businesses should actually uplift people and their well-being, look after them. And when we talk about that people, it's not just the people inside of the business, but also the community around them. Lastly, I refer you to the final P, which is the planet. There I immediately think of the triple R effect. Reduce, reuse, recycle. With that being said, I think you've all seen reduce, reuse, recycle. You've heard of it before, but also I want to say businesses shouldn't deplete and abuse and misuse our natural resources so that there's nothing left. And lastly, how we do business should be of such a nature that it doesn't harm our natural environment.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. So when I think of that, I'm always thinking of glass and paper. Plastic. Okay. So I visited Pick n Pay now the other day, and I actually saw something interesting, grade 12s and Dominique. What I saw was that Pick n Pay is now even recycling globes, light bulbs.
Wow.
And they're also recycling ink cartridges. So the old recycling that we have known now has been extended to further household goods, which I thought was very interesting.
And if we look at, for example, your house brand of Checkers or the Pick n Pay no names, the material that is utilized to make those particular products actually stems from recycled products. I was at a show 2 weeks ago, and people were making dresses from recycled material, and there's actually something new in the textile industry where they say there's lots of waste for the textiles and offcuts, as they call it. And we've got this new designer in Australia where he's using and buying all the offcuts and making new garments from that. It's become a social craze, and it's all over Instagram. So he's taking the waste that's might be causing pollution, and he's now turning it into a business.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so Dominique has explained the triple bottom line very nicely to us, beautifully. She's explained it to us. We move on to the nature of CSR and CSI. Now, when we think of CSR and CSI grade 12s, we are thinking, especially CSR, we are thinking about complying with laws, basically doing the right thing. But when we think of CSI, we're thinking of corporate social investment, where a business is actually going to take its money, Dominique, and they're going to invest it in the community, right?
Chantal, perhaps I should just add, sometimes it's not just the money.
Yeah.
Remember, if you have a pen with you now, where there stands investment, encircle it and say that investment is putting in. What are we putting in?
Yeah.
Chantal now mentioned money, but we always think it's money. It could be time, effort, experience, knowledge, skills, equipment, machinery, the works. One normally just associates money with an investment, but it can take other forms as well.
Yeah, and we will see that just in a few minutes with our explanation. So this question is taken directly out of a question paper, and please pay special attention to it because it's an often asked question. It's very popular. So you have to identify or differentiate or compare or tabulate the differences between CSR and CSI. And very interestingly there, it says for CSI, they focus on the upliftment of the community, right? And also they look at the needs of the community and social development. And then firstly, actively committing money and resources to uplift the community. So I want to, Dominique, just share this experience with you and everybody else. On the 15th of April, we had a school visit from youngster CPT. He's the Cape Crusader. I was very excited. I was very excited. I think I was more excited than some of the learners. But what was really interesting for me, what really stood out about this young entrepreneur, is firstly he said that it is because of this subject, business studies, that he is the young entrepreneur, young and successful entrepreneur he is today. So if anybody knows at what school youngster Riyadh comes from, please let us know so that we can honor and say thank you to his business studies teacher, so that he or she knows that they did a very excellent job. So he is an entrepreneur in the Western Cape. We know him for his music. We know him for, what's my favorite song again I told you?
Is it
Young Van Riebeeck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Young
The
Van
Cape
Riebeeck.
Crusader,
Cape
yeah.
Crusader song, yeah. So he came to our school, he spent 40 minutes of his time. And he was saying that time is so important and time is so valuable to him. And where he could have been making money and music, he was out there spending time with the learners for 40 minutes. He was motivating them. And he was also, what was I really admire him, because he said that his business, who works with him, are people from the streets, people that he started with, are the same people working in his business. And so he was acting, to me, socially responsible, because he was uplifting his community. And he didn't forget about them. He took them right along with him. So the learners were even telling me that in his videos that he makes, those are the people, that is his crew that's with him all the time. He even acknowledged his DJ, which is the Muffin Man, and he said it's because of him that he has reached success. And so he does this. I know that on Tuesday, which is yesterday, he was at Elsie's River High, my old school. So this is his CSI project, where he goes around and he spends time at schools motivating learners. But his business is also based, and employees are people who actually comes from his community. Okay.
Right, but Chantal, don't you think perhaps that's just a way of him marketing himself?
Oh, of course. We've already gone out and checked out how much his CD is, because I want to buy the CD and I want to support him. We even want to go and check out where his shop is, so that we can get some white YGen clothes. I think it's YGen.
YGen, that's correct.
Yes.
But I think some learners are sometimes confused. Is it a marketing stunt to try to boost sales here? Or is it purely because they want to give back to the community? Or what is actually happening? Sometimes I find the learners I teach, they totally get confused between, is it a sponsorship now, miss? Or what is it really? So,
So if I ask you, Dominique, if we have a soccer team and Jive comes along, the cool drink, and Jive wants to sponsor our soccer team, would you say that that was about publicity?
look, what is the purpose? And that's what you need to ask yourself. What is the purpose? Is it there for exploitation? Is it there for marketing purposes? Or is it there to uplift, build, and look after the well-being? And in this case, they are definitely tackling the issue of education and through recreational activities in education. With that, I would say it is definitely, it is not a PR stunt.
Right.
Not a PR stunt. I would say PR meaning public relations, which is one of the 8 business functions. I would say it's not a PR stunt. I would say they are collaboratively working with the school and uplifting those children. They're making a positive contribution to the well-being of those children.
Okay. So do you have an example maybe where businesses use their brand or their sponsorship, but it's really for public relations and not CSI or CSR?
Look, we can even look at Western Province Rugby. If you look at the rugby shirts that they are wearing, it's sponsored by Land Rover. And if we look at Siya Kolisi, the captain, he drives Land Rover. I mean, I wish not on a teacher salary, Land Rover. But yeah, I wanted to say that Siya Kolisi is sponsored by Land Rover.
Yeah.
So what are they doing? Land Rover is associating their brand with an established brand. And yeah, I want to say, Siya Kolisi is the brand. We see this with Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7 and Nike. We see this with Warwick Gelant also, for the Blue Bulls playing rugby there. And what do these people do? Oh, they get free equipment, free gear, free cars that they drive, sponsored by. So what is the purpose of that? That's not giving back to any community, grade 12s. That's not giving back. What's happening is it is for pure marketing purposes. So every time people want to be like Sia, people want to be like Warwick Geland. So what do? They take a picture, selfie mode, and then they post on social media, and all they do is hashtag Nike, hashtag Land Rover, and what does that do? It boosts the sales of that particular sponsor. Look at Nadia Jefter also. Those of you who are on social media, she's an influencer, right? All she gets is a whole lot of freebies. I wish I got so many freebies. And people just want her to tag and post. Everything is sponsored. But what are they doing? They're looking at the amount of followers she has, 50,000, 1 million, and then they send her free products. She's wearing it, she's doing a review, and boom, the sales goes up.
Yeah.
Over here, I want to say, PR stand you asked? If I was Enterprise, you all know about Enterprise, right? So last year, if you had a Vienna Gatsby, perhaps you would have gotten sick, because Enterprise had that story. If your teacher taught you very well and about the news and relevancy, then you would have known that eating Enterprise products would have given you listeriosis. Yeah. So you would have died or gotten sick. With that said, perhaps, for example, a PR stunt, if I was Enterprise, I would do a lot of community development, giving back, and looking after the well-being of the people. Why? Because I want to win back the trust of the community, of the buyers, of the public, to show them that I am still that reputable brand and that you don't need to be afraid to buy a Vienna Gatsby anymore.
I still won't buy from Enterprise. I'm sorry. Okay, grade 12, moving along. The impact of CSR and CSI on businesses. Another action verb that we must be conscious of, if that is the correct word. Impact, benefits, challenges, advantages, disadvantages, positive, negatives, all the same thing. Now, grade 12 here is where we're going to give you a few acronyms. So if you have a highlighter, please take it out. If you have a pencil or a different color pen, please take it out. And we will then guide you on the words. Okay?
If we can just, Chantal, just say hello to a couple of schools. Rangeville High School, Ukania High School, Gansbaai Academy, Modderdam's 12E2 class, Mr. Sardine. Keep up the good work there. Grahamstown is also here, and Nompumelelo High School. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay, so in your notes, in your telematics notes, for impact of CSI and CSR on businesses, would you please highlight the words for us? Lower, attracts, promote, and promote. Right, I'll say it again. Lower, attract, promote, and promote. So Dominic, would you just explain to us your acronym?
Yes, I found it easier studying through acronyms, and you remember it easy instead of memorizing all the words. It becomes too difficult, and when you lose one word, you lose everything. So I've created an acronym for the advantages, and the L is for lower staff turnover. There's 2 A's. So there's A to the power of 2, and that A refers to attracting investors. So if you do or participate in CSR, you attract investors to your company. The third one is, again, A for attract experienced employees, because people want to be associated with you because you are doing good work and giving back to the community you established and reputable. The P we have there is also to the power of 2. So there's 2 promotes. The first promote is promote customer loyalty, which means people are always going to shop at your shop. They wouldn't shop at any place else. The last P is also promote teamwork within the particular business. So if I can run through that again, we have for the advantages, we've created an acronym which stands for LAP. L for lower staff turnover, A, attract investors, A, attract experienced employees, P for promoting customer loyalty, and then lastly, promoting teamwork.
Okay, thank you, Dominique. So now we're going to move on to the impact of CSR and CSI on communities, right? So grade 12s, again, we want you to highlight or circle the following words: bursaries, rehabilitation, improve, and then jobs. I'll say that again: bursaries for family members of employees, rehabilitation centers for provided for addictive employees, improve health of communities, improve the standard of living of communities, and then jobs to be created. So Dominique, you created Bridge.
Yes, and this time we created Bridge. But before I get to the acronym, I've now been running through the past papers, grade 12s, and one thing that stands out for me is the following, and I need to share this. I mean, this is a huge platform to reach a lot of learners, so I'm sharing my inside scoop with these learners now. With that said, Chantal, every year I see in the papers, whether it's supplementary or the National Senior Certificate, they ask that impact question. And that impact question is the impact on the business and the impact on communities. And what Chantal was just explaining now about the advantages is for the impact on communities. So how will the communities benefit? We look there at the acronym in front of your screen. You see Bridge, and this time it's B for bursaries. And family members, sometimes, for example, CPUT, UWC, if your parents work there, sometimes you study for free, sometimes you get 50% discount or 90% discount, and that is nearly like a fringe benefit for the particular worker, and that's an advantage because now you don't have to worry about how am I going to pay for tertiary studies because I'm an employee and I'm definitely going to allow my child tertiary education through means of this bursary. That's the first B. When we look at R stands for rehabilitation. All right. Now, Chantal, FYI, girlfriend, for your information, do you know that if you are a drug addict or an alcoholic, your boss first needs to rehabilitate you? And which means they can't directly fire you. You first need to be rehabilitated. With that, I want to say rehabilitation centers, and that's an advantage. Sometimes we know life's pressure gets to people and they tend to become alcoholics or drug addicts, etc., etc. So the establishment of rehabilitation centers for people with addiction. I also want to link on, because I know many teachers are tuned in as well. The Western Cape Education Department has a wellness program, and many teachers also sometimes suffer from anxiety, depression, and stress, because being a teacher is a stressful job. So the R, therefore, stands for rehabilitation. Then we have I. There's two I's, as you can see, to the power of 2. And that is improve the health of communities by providing services. Sometimes it is by engaging in HIV and AIDS awareness programs, TB testing, sometimes even downstairs they hand out free condoms, and that is part of educating and looking after the well-being of the community. We at the last I for improve, and there we say improve the standard of living of the community. And when we improve the standard of living of people, it means they can definitely see to their basic needs and they are employable, not just living off a SASSA grant, but they have food, shelter, they are taken care of, their health, etc. We are by J and provide jobs for the unemployed. And here I want to latch back to what I said earlier, because I said earlier with the triple P and we explained the relationship and we focused on profit. I told you earlier, we need to keep the business doors open, because if it's open, it is profitable. And when it's profitable, it grows. And when a business grows, we can employ more. So that is the advantage there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. Okay. So that was bridge, disadvantages or challenges. Grade 12 learners, if you can again just highlight for us the words scarce, sustainable, equipped, avoid, and motives. So I'll say it again. Scarce resources distributed to selected communities, sustainable programs not delivered, equipped, lack to deal with social problems, avoiding taking social responsibility for themselves, and motives are not for the community.
Right, let's quickly run through this acronym as well. So SEAM is to the power of 2, scarce resources distributed to selected communities. Followed by sustainable programs not delivered. And I actually want to stop there. Grade 12s, sometimes businesses only do a project for a day. That's not sustainable. How does a project become sustainable? It becomes sustainable through proper planning, ensuring you have budget for it, you have the proper resources and human resources to attend to the particular problem. You identified the challenge or the socio-economic issue within the community you serve, and you address it through means of a CSR type of project or program. By having a project a day, what are we doing? We're creating false hope in the community. One day we want to give out soup when it rains, and for the rest of the 300 days, the community for themselves, you know. So,
But Dominique, I must say that these were the disadvantages of CSR and CSI comes in. We know that sometimes it can only be short-lived. I just explained to my grade 10s today because we were doing social responsibility. I think about 6 years ago, we were blessed, if I can say that, with a new school. And our school cost 52 million rand. And so with this 52 million rand school came all these eco products, and the way the school was built, it allows us to catch rainwater and flush the toilets of the rainwater. And what happened was that our old school had to be demolished. And so when National did where they did the presentation to the community, one of the questions was, who's going to work at the school? Who's going to break down the school? Who's going to help? And so the people of Kensington, they were employed for a period of time. And of course, if they could, I'm sure the government would then, or they would then help them for as long as they could, but it was only for that amount of time. And also, everything that came off, like the windows and the doors, and not the gates really, but everything that the community needed, they could come and they had a chance to come and take whatever they needed. And that is how it was given back. So yes, sustainability, but we also know that it's not always possible.
yeah. If we can continue, equipment, or rather equip the lack thereof to deal with social problems. And here I want to say a business can identify a social problem, but that doesn't mean they have the necessary expertise in that. So the E for SEAM stands for equipped, and that means we lack the equipment or the skills or the expertise to deal with the social problems. We look at the A, and that is avoid taking responsibility for themselves. I mean, that goes without saying. If everyone's just going to give in a particular community, when is the community going to be able to stand on their own feet? Okay. And that creates a situation where we just stand with our hands like this, and we just want to be on the receiving end, and we're doing absolutely nothing for ourselves. Lastly, in SEAM, we have M for motives are not for the community. And here it is for public relations stunts or for marketing purpose. If you do or participate in CSR or CSI projects or programs, then it is for the pure purpose of giving back, uplifting, and looking after the well-being of the community. With that said, if that isn't the business primary aim, then it means that their motive is not correct.
Okay, thank you, Dominique. Moving on to exam type questions, and we know that this is very important, grade 12, because that is what you're working towards. And just a reminder, we don't know as your teachers what exactly is going to be asked in the exam. What we do know is that we have to prepare you to the best of our ability. So it's not only dependent on us, grade 12s, you also have to bring your part. You have to work, you have to set up your own things at home and get busy. And then also, we always there to help you and to support you. Okay, so
Chantal, if I can quickly just ask answer one of the questions I saw now on the WhatsApp line.
Yeah.
The bottom line, if I can explain again, the bottom line was used in the past. The bottom line refers to not considering nobody and anything, and you out there just to make 100% profit no matter what. In today's life, which is the 21st century, we make use, or the businesses should make use of the triple bottom line. Triple referring to 3 aspects, meaning planet, people, and profit. If that answers your question. Matthew from Craddock.
okay, exam type questions, grade 12. This was taken out of the March 2018 supplementary exam. And the first question, discuss the disadvantages of corporate social investment for the communities. Name the 4 components of corporate social responsibility. And 1.3, recommend ways in which the business can contribute to the well-being of the employees. Now, we haven't gotten to 1.2 and 1.3 yet, but we have, Dominique, covered 1.1.1. Sorry, 1.1. And if we can just look at the answer, and there is the answer, distribution of scarce CSI resources to select beneficiaries in the community may cause problems such as discrimination. Okay? I'm not going to go into too much detail because the learners have the answers in front of them in their books, because there's still a video that we want to show you. Okay, so we're going to move along and we're going to pass some of the questions. And so, make every day a Mandela Day. I think, Dominique, we spoke about sustainability. And one of the examples that I shared with you, remember, when we were chatting, was that one of the schools in the Kensington community, which is Windermere High, they've got an entrepreneurship club. And so I think in last year we had a fire in one of the squatter camps, or in the squatter camps in the area. And what Windermere High's entrepreneurship club did is the profits they generated from obviously selling stuff, they took it and then they went to reinvest it in that disaster and helped out the community. So much respect, Windermere, for what you did for your community, and I mean raising their funds and their hard work and then putting back into the community.
My problem with the Nelson Mandela Day is I think everyone celebrates the 67 minutes. It's the main thing of Nelson Mandela Day is it's not sustainable. You see companies doing nothing whole year, and they invest thousands, hundreds and thousands of rands for that one day.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to call it a day, because it's literally an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm asking, where is the companies the rest of the year? Why are you doing nothing for the communities? Why are you doing nothing for the people? Why are you not uplifting? And why are you not looking after their well-being? What is the aim and their purpose? So now, grade 12s, we look at the motive. The motive there is, during Mandela Day, all the media and people are out wanting to take pictures and get newspaper clippings and videos so that they can put on the news. This is how people celebrated 67 minutes. So now for this day, we go all out. That isn't the point of CSR. In this case, it's just for pure public relations to get their name out there. And that is my biggest problem. Every day should be Mandela Day, as you can read on the screen.
Thank you, Dominique. Okay.
Before we play, can we pause?
Okay.
Right, so Chantal, I'm sure you eat KFC.
Sometimes.
So when I go to KFC, the lady asks, 2 rand for hope. And I add sometimes, and other times I don't. Here is a clip, I'm sure you all know, of KFC Add Hope, the 2 rand. Please view the video clip to see what has been happening with all the 2 rands we have been adding over the years.
Ever tried to function on an empty stomach? It's pretty much impossible, especially when you're a kid. Sadly, 3.2 million South African children do not get enough food in order to grow and learn. As one of South Africa's best-loved brands, KFC felt obligated to help. In 2009, we added a new item to our menu. We added hope. In any of our stores, customers can buy a side item for just 2 rand. This 2 rand goes towards feeding a child. It's a small amount, but it makes a big difference to a hungry little one. Through more than 100 beneficiaries, we feed over 113,000 kids every day. With the help of ordinary South Africans, Add Hope has raised 321 million rand over the past 7 years. The initiative is now being rolled out globally, with 41 other countries already adding hope through their KFC stores. Add Hope has not only had a big impact on the lives of thousands of kids, but also on the KFC brand. It commands awareness levels of over 75% amongst consumers, which leads to increased affinity for KFC. Consumers say that they're more likely to buy from KFC because of Add Hope, which contributes to KFC being voted a top brand in South Africa. Over the past 5 years, Add Hope has generated more than 9 million rand in earned media. Plus, 93% of our staff say that they feel good about the way KFC contributes to the community. But this is only the beginning. This year, we aim to feed 115,000 kids, and in 5 years, we want to increase this amount by more than double. As Add Hope keeps growing, so too does the KFC brand. Because by doing good, we also do good business.
Right. Just also, hello for tuning in, Benongo, Miss Benongo from Makupula High, John Noah High, Falile High School, Mr. Michaels, you are noted, and then Abambo High School. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay, just to go through, because we are about 2 minutes to the end of the show. The lesson. Components of CSR. So what makes up CSR? And we look at corporate governance, health and safety, employment equity, environment and environmental issues, ethical corporate social investment, as well as business ethics again. It comes down to doing the right thing, following the laws, being responsible, being accountable, and upliftment. There's health and safety. If I think of health and safety, I'm thinking of COIDA, employment equity. I'm thinking about fairness. I'm thinking about inclusivity. So we've got another acronym, grade 12, so that you could remember components of CSR, which is CHEB.
CHEB standing for corporate governance, the C, H for health and safety, and then by the E, I need you to put E to the power of 3, as we have 3 E's there. The first E being employment equity, ensuring fair practices. Environmental awareness is the second E, and then the third E, ethical corporate social investment. And the B for the acronym is business ethics. We move along to the focus areas of CSI. There's another acronym on your screen, focusing on CRE, and there the focus area of corporate social investment focuses primarily on the community, our environment, the employees, and rural development. Grade 12s, you can clearly see this goes back to the triple P effect again, because the community comes from the people, The environment is there by planet, and the employees is also part of the people, and in rural development. Practical examples of projects. We played the clip for you of KFC Add Hope, and then there's also lots of feeding schemes such as ShopRite Mobile Food Kitchen, and then I would like to do the straws, Chantal. I've seen that at many shops, they don't give people straws anymore when you buy a tin of cool drink or a bottle of cool drink, etc., because of the pollution. And here, what are we addressing in the 3 Ps? Planet. Planet.
Yeah.
Because that is part of pollution.
Yeah.
So what businesses has come out to say now, we're not going to give plastic straws anymore, even at restaurants. They are giving straws that are made from paper.
Yeah.
Plastic bags as well. A couple of years ago, more than a decade ago, because of pollution, the amount of pollution, especially if you at school, you will see now during winter and autumn and spring when the wind blows, you'll see in the corners of the schoolyards against the nets, all the plastic bags are being trapped there. But what do most households do? They fold it out. Up, it looks like little samosas that they're keeping, your mom or your granny is keeping under the cupboard. You see people, when they go to the shop nowadays, they have a bag filled with lots of plastic bags because people don't want to pay for the bags. So that's how government is punishing us by allowing us to pay for it.
I'm almost sure I saw such a quote on Facebook, eh?
Of the samosas?
Of the samosa plastic
Yes.
bags. Grade 12, we've come to the end of our session. We hope that you enjoyed the time and the topic with us. Edoval High says, Ms. Dominique, thank you for investing our time with them.
Oh, wow.
We will see you next time for investment securities. Next time, please see that you have your calculators with you because we're going to do some calculations. Thank you, grade 12. Until next time.
Oh, we can't get to all the WhatsApps. It's too much.